I'm afraid now maybe Garcon or something like that might be more fitting.
Lumiere.
I almost invested in the Beauty and the Beast life-size cutout in the building that you guys might have saw today for my daughter, but I didn't do it. Anyhow, I'm going to start off tonight a little bit different than I normally do. Again, I want to thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed today, and tomorrow's going to be very nice, I hope also. So the first person I'm going to introduce tonight is the most important person in my life. She's been my best friend for 32 years. She would have liked to spend a lot more time with us this week. And I have to cheat and get my phone out to look at this. Anna Mae has been representing her credit union. Sometimes the boss has to do what the boss has to do. She's been at Hershey for the last 3 days representing the credit union. And she was very pleased yesterday when her credit union was awarded. It's the Pennsylvania Credit Union League. So this was for credit unions all over the state of Pennsylvania. And her credit union, with her leadership, was awarded first place. All right, now my phone's not going to work. In recognition of leadership in youth financial education. And that's because they are very, very active in going out to schools and teaching children about how to manage their money. So my wife, Anna Mae, she's been my wife for 31 years almost, and again, my best friend, and I love her more than anything. Thank you, Anna Mae.
Yeah, that's good, man.
That's why you have
Without her support and her guidance, none of this would happen because she's as much of this as anyone. So I'm going to turn it over to her for a few moments, and then you'll have to put up with me a little later.
Well, as he said, we'll be married 31 years in June, and when I met Brad, I couldn't say Citroën, let alone spell it, so I've come a long way. He's been in business for 23 years, and over those years we've had the opportunity to call many of you our friends, and it's been a real blessing to have you as our friends. But also you've watched our children grow up. From the time they toddled around at the Carlisle Fairgrounds till now as young adults. Our daughter isn't able to be with us this evening. She's completing her 4th year as a speech therapist in an elementary school, and one of her co-workers decided to get married today. So she's at a wedding in Hershey, but she really missed this evening and was sorry she couldn't come. And the awards that'll be presented a little later this evening, big thank you to her because she's the one who designed and printed them. Our son, you watched him grow up. This year's been a very eventful year for him. He graduated in January with his Doctor of Physical Therapy, began his new job in February, and on April 22nd, he married a very lovely young lady that we're very happy to welcome as a daughter in our family. So I'd like to introduce Kathy and Andrew. And we thank you all for being part of our lives and look forward to many more years ahead.
Thank you. All right, so the next people I would like to thank and to recognize is all of you, because without all of you coming and being a part of this weekend, CITROENS at Carlisle would be nothing. And a lot of you have gone out of your way to be supportive, and it's not easy coming from 3 states away or 2 states away or whatever. So we recognize that the fact that you guys come here every year, we sort of consider this the kickoff to the car season, to the Citroën car season. So we really appreciate your coming and your support. So give yourselves a round of applause. Now I'd be amiss if I didn't ask and embarrass a few people. So the next couple people I'd like to recognize is with those of you who are first-time attendees to CITROENS at Carlisle, please stand. Come on! And I hope you know that I speak for everyone, and that we appreciate your coming, and we are glad you're here, and we hope you'll come back again. And we sincerely hope you have a good weekend here. And we can't control the weather, but there's a saying that I like and that I came up with a long time ago. Those cars out there are just a venue to get the people together, because it's all about the people. I mean, anybody can buy a car, but you got to make friends. So thank you all for coming. We're also very, very happy, I am anyhow, and I'm sure a lot of other people are, to be able to call a young man, our friend, who has probably been one of the biggest advocates for CITROEN in the publishing business in the United States. Dave, would you please stand? Dave has probably been the person in the publishing business in this country who has been a friend of CITROEN and has been supportive of us. As many of you know, he was the editor of Sports and Exotic for Hemmings Motor News for 13 years, 12 or 13 years. And we were all saddened, and I'm sure he was too, when we saw that the carpet was pulled out from under his feet about a month ago, because the magazine is no longer. But we all know that Dave's not going to go away. We're really happy he would join us tonight, and we hope that we hear a lot more from you very shortly, and we'll be supportive of whatever your future brings. So thank you for coming tonight.
Stay tuned.
Then I'm going to turn the I don't have a microphone, but I'm going to turn the big mouth over to George Dyke and John McCullough. They came the whole way here from Canada. They are the leaders of the CITROEN Club of Canada and their great website. They are the only, I guess, big CITROEN club in North America. And they are holding the torch for a lot of us. George and John, please, if you'd like to say something, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and John as well. We were happy to come down to Carlisle this year. We try to make it as many years as we can. It's a bit of a trek, and we always get to rendezvous every year too. So it's quite an effort in some cases. But we're really appreciative of the support we've gotten from the U.S. community. As you know, some years ago, the CITROEN Club of North America had some difficulty, and we published the newsletter for a number of years as a co-venture with the CITROEN Club of North America. And when you guys kind of had a bit of problem that way, we kind of continued with CITROEN V and maintained that website, and actually have continued to grow it. It's a wonderful resource. If you've been to it, there's over 400 pages of information there, as well as hundreds of technical document archives and videos, etc. And we're happy to continue with that. And we really appreciate the support. And if you're not members of CITROEN V, we certainly would encourage you to become members of CITROEN V. Every month we do a newsletter update telling you what's current on the site and some news of the CITROEN community in North America. So we really appreciate the support, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
The only thing I would say is that nobody has any idea of the number of hours that goes into making that website work. And George puts in thousands and thousands of hours getting that website to work. And his website's so easy to click on that and it works, bingo. Well, there's a hell of a lot behind that. And I think that goes uncredited, that kind of work. And in terms of providing leadership for the CITROEN community, and certainly in the Toronto area, I mean, he's really been a key person in that, if not the key person. And if there's a Citroën in North America that has been sold without his knowledge, say Noel Slade, I mean.
Thank you very much.
He mentioned, and I don't mean to, there's been quite a bit of controversy about a gentleman in the U.S. who claims to restore Citroëns, and it's gotten to be out of control recently. Eric DeWitt has communicated with a few people. Dave Burnham has serviced a number of cars, and I recently saved a lady $35,000 of money that was about to go to a gentleman in New Jersey by the name of Noel Slade. This guy has become, frankly, a criminal. And I can't begin to tell you the horror stories we've received about this. He's running a Ponzi scheme about trying to take money from you and provide a Citroën. It's a total scam. He's become aggressive with customers. If their check was canceled, which was the case in this lady who contacted us and read a report that we basically stated on Citroën V about the scams that he's been going through, she canceled the check to Noel Slade. He called her up and threatened her. Actually told her his father-in-law was mafia in New York City, and she had better be careful about getting out of her car in the morning, basically.
Wow.
So this is the kind of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. We're trying to put this guy out of business. He should be taken out of the country before any Mexican Donald Trump exports from the USA. But in reality, you know, we have a wonderful community, and it's people like this that are cancer in the community, and we're trying to deal with it. So. We would appreciate if anybody's has had any feedback or dealings with this gentleman, please let me know. We're committed. We're putting a dossier together and helping other people from losing more money and going into scam routines with this gentleman. So
Thank
Thank
you.
Can I just ask a question? I know John McCullough has been involved with Citroën Army Call, or maybe you still are. I don't know if a lot of people know what that involvement is. I wonder if you might comment on that.
Just that I was on the board for 8 years. I was president for 2 and vice president for 3. And it's the emphasis has changed dramatically in the ACI to now proselytizing for 2 different brands now, Citroën and DS. That's the first thing. And second thing is they become far more politically involved in FIVA and a few other political moves there for the aggrandizement of the president, in my view, and shifted away from the events. And that was the only thing I concentrated for 8 years. It was the events that mattered, because that's where the money, which was 36,000 euros, was devoted to promoting the events, paying for the events. I mean, all I spent my time doing was negotiating with Citroën and the other people about a couple of £1,000 to ship a car, or would they provide this, or would they give us banners, or would they give us people, So I think the emphasis has changed quite a bit, and now I would say the difficulty is finding people who are prepared to put the 5 years, I mean 5 years, into organizing one of the events.
Like
the
ICCCRs.
Like the ICCCR is an enormous undertaking, and the stress that it puts on people, if you don't have a good team, is really incredible. And if you want a little factoid, of the number of people who turn up on the day of the event, nearly 50% decide to come to the event that day. So you can imagine trying to predict what you're going to require. So when people grizzle about there's not enough toilets, there's not enough showers, not enough this, well, hell, nobody said they wanted to come, so we provided for that. So I think there's a lot of things like that that really are detracting from some of the efforts of the ICCR, the ICI. They've tried to expand into different countries. There was a great hoo-ha made of the fact that there were 2 members of the Citroën Club from Iran who joined up, and I thought that was very admirable, but that's 2 people in Iran who can't leave the country. So I think a lot of it was a lot of smoke, not too much in the way of actual fire. So I don't know. They have a lot of really good people involved in it. I think the wrong people are running it.
For those of you who don't know what they're talking about, he was on the board and was the president of the basically the International Citroën Club. So John, we We respect the fact that you've been so involved. We appreciate that. And again, we thank you both for making the long trip here.
Thank you.
I think I need to embarrass a couple guys right now. So if Dave Agar and Paul Anderson would come up here. Come on up.
I wonder why.
Now, I'm not sure what they're going to be best known for today.
I have an idea.
Doing a CITROENS seminar that probably drew the largest amount of non-CITROENS people I've ever seen at Carlisle, or the fact that they were crazy enough to let me conspire with them to get them involved in this, or if they are going to be known as maybe the stars of a lot of YouTube videos by tomorrow, because I don't think I've seen as many video cameras and cell phones pointed in the way of two CITROENS driving around the fairgrounds on 3 wheels. So I think these guys did a great job. I told Dave Agar I think he's going to become a motivational speaker before anything else. I was really, I think you guys knocked it out of the ballpark.
Thank you.
I think your demonstration was very professional and very well done.
We winged it.
And yeah, I know you guys. I knew you pulled it out of your butt. You did good. And but anyhow, Dave decided he needed ballast, and I think I was the biggest guy around, so I got in the front seat. And I can tell you that there were a lot of very excited people. And I think that maybe CITROENS is a little more respected by Carlisle events. I don't know if you noticed or not, there weren't very many seminars on their schedule this year. And they apparently had a couple that were being done by a gentleman in Michigan, and apparently had a family emergency. So he was unable to come at the last moment. So they had canceled all of their seminars in their seminar tent. So I think the CITROENS seminar hit it out of the ballpark today, and I think that we might have a little more respect from the community. And it's thanks to these two guys. As a small token of our appreciation, and I think I might know somebody that could frame and mount these for you.
Oh, you're creating work for me, really, you know.
But this is from Anna Mae and I.
Oh, wow.
We hope it's a small token. And we really appreciate what you guys did today.
Thanks, it was fun.
Do it again next year.
All right, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'll tell you what I'd like to have in the next month or 2 or 3 or 4. I'd like to have a couple people step forward and say, hey, those two guys did it. I can do it. We need some new ideas for seminars. And they don't have to be with a D model. They can be with a traction. They can be with a CX. They can be with whatever you want, whatever you bring. Or they can be something totally unrelated to a car, but to do with CITROENS. So we would really like for people to come forward and give us ideas or volunteer to do a seminar, because that's what makes it fun, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're not sitting around talking about how our cars are appreciating, or they're doing this or they're doing that. We're coming to Carlisle. Everybody I've talked to today said, yeah, the weather sucks, but we're having fun. So that's what it's all about, guys. It's all about having fun. But seriously, if anyone has any ideas or they'd like to volunteer, we'd like to know about it. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, so the moment we've all waited for, or at least a few of us. I'm almost done talking. That's what you're waiting for. Anna Mae and I had the pleasure of, and the difficult job of tallying the ballots from the People's Choice Awards. And we came up with the winners. Vanna's going to hand them out. I'm going to call the names. I know. I bet she does. See if I can. Don't worry. I'm going to do that one first. Okay, we don't always give this award, but when it is merited, we do, and it's called the Hard Luck Award. We don't do that very often because we don't really usually have anyone that has any terribly hard luck. But this year, Jim Haney left Indianapolis on Thursday to trek east to come here. He's come here for years and years and years with his DS-21. He just recently rebuilt the engine, and I think he was excited after missing a year to be here. He left a message on my answering machine Thursday evening that he had broken down. His car had overheated 150 miles from home, and instead of taking any chances, he had the car trailered back home. So I will see that this gets mailed to Jim Haney, and I'm not sure if he'll appreciate it, but I think it's warranted. So hopefully Jim will get his car running again, and we'll see him next year, or maybe even at the rendezvous. All right, so what I can tell you about tallying the votes, there were very few cars on that show field that didn't at least get one vote. And I'm very serious about that. I don't think there was one car that someone didn't vote as their people's choice in every category. I'm happy to have Vanna